I killed a lot of trees. I didn't accept that they die for no good reason. Hi, I'm miltonchang of Bonsaiheirloom. Well, today, before I go into my Q&A, I'd like to introduce you to my new baby. I was going to call him Red because he's going to turn pretty red when he gets older. This is a Pomeranian. I really like Bonbon, the first one, the white one. But I decided to get this one. It's going to be tinier. I think it will be not much more than 4 pounds when he's fully grown. And so what do I name him? Well, I have Bonbon as a part of Bonsai. So I decided to name him Sai-Sai, or S-A-I, or Sai-Sai. But in Chinese, Sai-Sai means son or young boy. So anyway, this is my new baby. And unlike Bonbon, he's very cuddly. He will sleep right next to me while I work. So he's going to be my wonderful pet. He's going to be my favorite pet. Say hello. So today I will first go over a few Q&A. The first question was about, can you show me a bonsai, a juniper bonsai, with the method you use in terms of creating the pads? So let me say a few words about creating pads with my technique. My technique is really so-called a cut and grow. I cut it back basically to the core of the design and then build it up. Later on, you'll see quite a few comments about a few people think that I cut off too drastically. Well, in defense of myself, I'm saying the cut and grow, you want to get to the core of your design. So unless you're drastic, you never get a drastic design. But after you build it up, in a sense, let it grow out, and the tree became more mature in the shape that you wanted, then you want to create pads to look like trees in nature, especially conifer trees. It will have nice pads, and that's why the juniper is like that. By then, you really don't want to cut as drastically as I do that in the beginning, because you want the pads to form kind of a full. So my technique is basically to create an imaginary poodling pad, in a sense that you know how you poodle trees to get the shape you like. You imagine there's this pad, and you let the branch grow into that, and you cut it. You let branching to cut it. And then you go in and cut off the redundant branch. And if necessary, also wire it. It takes too much time to create the pads in the desired direction, because every time you cut off, to start over again from the buds. So I will actually use some wiring as the tree becomes more mature, close to being a displayable bonsai. So we'll show you a few examples of the pads. Like this is a more mature tree. You can see these are the nice pads that have been formed. And then this one grows a little bit out of the pad. Then I just pinch it. So that's how you keep the pad over time really nice and tight and within the confines of the design of the pad. So that's the process. You do a very rough cutting, and then you let it gradually fill up. And then you poodle it to keep the shape of the ideal pad, and then you're gradually pinching it to keep it in shape. So for example, the bottom, generally you don't want things to go to the bottom, so you pinch it. And when you pinch the top, it will thicken quickly. And then the fact that you pinch it, it's not like clipping. You only have one little brown spot versus a whole cut of the brown spots. So with that in mind, then you just keep doing it to refine, and gradually the tree becomes looking very polished. Manny says, I found another maple growing in my backyard. Should I cut it? Should I prune it or put it in the ground, or what do I do? Thanks for your frequent comments. A couple of thoughts that came to mind. Since you mentioned many times you have a lot of maples popping up, please make sure they are the Japanese maple variety. A lot of the red maples that are for landscaping, they're actually very large leaves. So keep in mind the leaves and the bonsai had to be to scale. So you may want to let them grow to a certain size. Make sure the size of the tree is consistent with the size of the leaf. And so you may have to settle for some bigger bonsais. since you're good at starting seeds, why not get a Japanese maple and let it go to seed and collect or propagate some Japanese maple seeds? They're proven to work as a bonsai. Okay, the next question is I cut off all the leaves when I prune a tree, will the new leaves come back? The answer for deciduous trees, by and large, is yes. So long there's some buds behind, for sure it will come out. The question gets more complicated if you have a evergreen tree. Usually evergreen trees need something green in order for the buds to shoot out. So if you cut off a branch leaving no green part on the branch, that branch may very well die off. So I hope that answers your question. But in terms of cutting roots off, I think you need to kind of comb the roots to make sure it's in the right shape. I like to see roots kind of grasping the earth. If nothing else, sometimes you need to cut the roots back to force it to fit the pot. But always leave some fibrous roots. I believe most roots will shoot out even there's no fibrous roots, but you're taking a little bit of a chance, especially for evergreen trees. So yes, leave some fibrous roots, but do feel free to cut off because there's no other way to do it. And then hopefully the roots will grow out to fill the bonsai pot. I enjoy watching your philosophy and listen to your philosophy. I don't see the vision of future in your bonsai. Seems too severe. I have been paying a lot of attention to what the tree looks like in nature. And I look at a lot of bonsai books to remember the shape that pleases me. But how can I make a tree conform exactly to a bonsai tree or exactly to a tree? So you generalize to roughly what the form would be and let it grow into that. So my bonsai, indeed, it's hard for you to see my vision, but indeed everyone, I work towards a vision from the very beginning. I study it until I pick out the line, so to speak, the design, the core of the design, and then I build on it. Hopefully you will see over time, my trees, none of them are alike to each other because I let the tree take its own natural course to grow into certain shape, then I modify it by imposing my will by cutting off the redundant ones. So it's a compromise between totally natural, could be very wild and random, to something that conforms to my ideal of a vision. I promise you I do have a vision for every tree. Then the next question was, you're a PhD engineer in what field? The field that I'm in is called electrical engineering, and I minor in physics. I think physics is a wonderful principal major. It's applicable to everything. If you're in medical, you know a little about physics because everything is defined by physics. And then so my training is in electrical engineering. I know about circuit design, et cetera, et cetera. And then my job was in microwave, so I know a lot about microwave systems, and that's in your microwave, same stuff as they use for radar. And then for my PhD thesis, I studied lasers and holography. Holography is using lasers to make three-dimensional, reproduce exactly the image that you're trying to capture. So it's basically a truly three-dimensional photography. But I want to say the following. You spend 4 years or 7 years or more to get a PhD. It really isn't about the subject you study, but it's the whole process of learning how to address a problem, identify a problem, address it, and solve it, and build some principle generality in it. With that in mind, then, it's really not about the topic of your thesis, but rather on the thought process of how you tackle a problem. And I applied that to my bonsai. I killed a lot of trees. I didn't accept that they die for no good reason. I listened to masters describing their technique. I don't listen to what they say verbatim, but understand the core of what they're trying to say, and then extrapolate by my understanding of the physics and the nature, whatever I pick up in botany. So that's how I learn, and I'm sharing with you the hard lessons I learned. I killed many, many trees along the way. For example, one of the biggest mistake I make in the early days is listen to the master say, don't overwater your bonsai. Hey, I promise you, you can never overwater a bonsai. I water mine every day, sometimes several times a day, because there's a big drainage hole in the bottom. So there are a lot of misinformation that you understand at first and then you extrapolate. Don't accept what people tell you, including what I say, but try to extrapolate the fundamental reasons of what I say, what I said, and then apply to your specific situation. That's how you be your own master and grow from there. Have you ever blended the moss with buttermilk? Yeah, I heard about that as a way of spreading fertilizer around. So let me tell you what I do. First of all, I found they grow really, really well with organic material, especially something that's a little sticky. So buttermilk may very well work, but how do you spread the gummy moss around? So if you like, you can, I suppose, spray some buttermilk on top of your soil, and then you spray the moss powder on top of it. That will work. I found being very moist is really a good starting point. Topsoil, and for that matter, chicken manure, you spread around, and after you water, they spread, and then you put the powder on. In 5 or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you will have nice green lawn, almost, at least the start of a green lawn. Can you advise some soil mix for azalea? Well, I'm not very good at azalea, but I'm beginning to like them, and I started a few. There's Japanese formulas using a special kind of akadama or compost soil, in a sense of fire soil. But what I found is that coconut coir or peat moss with the perlite is very good material. For that matter, I think that's really good material. But if you worry about the soil drying out, I would say using the standard soil mix everybody recommend, people in growing azalea nursery recommends, is peat moss plus perlite for aeration. I would say add the New Zealand moss, just chop it up and blend it, because that can absorb a lot of water, so that the soil mixture of peat moss will not dry out. Peat moss is very nice material, organic material, but it has one major drawback, which is once it's dried out, it doesn't really get moist very easily. You have to soak it before it will capture moisture, keep moisture again. That's great information. I learned a lot. I've been working on a lemon tree from seeds. It's growing good roots. And then the second question was about pinion tree. Let me address the lemon tree first. First, it's great that you use a seed. Lemon is kind of big. So again, you have to do a reasonable size bonsai, let's say this size, with the lemon hanging. That's kind of to scale. But wonderful that you have it started with your own seed, which could very well mean that, well, for that matter, you have no graft mark. So that's going to be a good bonsai. What I would recommend that those of you who are interested in citrus trees, unfortunately, Fortuna, which is a Hong Kong kumquat tree, cannot be imported to California. So I can get it, but I would say kumquat tree is the next best thing, which you can get in California. And what you can do is by cutting. The second one is that by air layering above the grab mark, so that you will eliminate grab mark by cutting it off below. And the point about kumquat is that they are about the size, so that it's to scale for a reasonable sized bonsai. The next question says about pinion pine in New Mexico. Is that a good material for bonsai? I think it is an excellent material for bonsai. I used to go to Mojave High Desert to look for California juniper, and there were plenty pinion trees growing there. The bark tend to be very rough. It's, how do you say that, exfoliating in a sense of a kind of a crinkly peeling off, dark brown. So they make excellent bonsai, and the leaves are not too big. And in a while, they don't grow very fast. But I suspect if you water it well, it will grow fast. And with age, it may have very desirable characteristic, and it will be local material. So I encourage you to try them, and then please share with the bonsai heirloom community how it worked out within your bonsai. And that's my whole point. Please share the video, our channel, with your friends, whether they're interested in bonsai or not. I like to sell them a bonsai as a gift someday that you may want to give them so that they can get them started in bonsai. But more importantly, I think bonsai hobbyists is my community. And I hope more people would find our video and find it useful. And it's growing, by the way. Thank you very much. So please click like if you find my comments informative. And I hope to get your email address so that we can inform you of our upcoming product release. It's going to be very limiting in quantity, and I hope you get it. With that, I thank you very much, and I see you next week.